Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is December 19th, 2023. If you could please subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. There is a lot happening. This is the final 2 days of Sagittarius season. We've got the Sun and Mars transiting in Sag. Mars and Sag is very adventurous and, wants to get out there and do things. But right now, the Sun is at the galactic center, which is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And that is the center of the Milky Way. And that is a very intuitive and psychic part of the zodiac. Could be psychic downloads, but it's also squaring where Neptune, which is the modern ruler of Pisces, retrograded in the middle of June. So this could bring very intuitive energy, very psychic and prophetic energy, could bring a lot of confusion and listlessness also. It can make you feel really tired. And the Sun started squaring Neptune at the end of last week, and it peaked on Saturday. Sounds like I'm talking about Timothy Leary, but it peaked on Saturday, but we're still working with that. And, Saturn and Neptune are both transiting in Pisces, which is extremely unusual. Saturn's in Pisces, or any sign, approximately every 28 and a half years. But Neptune takes 165 years to transit. So to have Neptune at the final degrees of Pisces, and next spring, early summer, it's going to get to the final degrees of the final degree of the zodiac, 29 degrees of Pisces, which is the last degree of Pisces and of the zodiac. And the thing we all want to take into account right now, Mercury is retrograde. It retrograded last week on the 13th. And it retrograded in Capricorn, which is a sign of goals, ambition, and direction. Reassessing and reevaluating how you can be much more productive in 2024. Saturn rules Capricorn. It loves being in Capricorn. It also rules Aquarius in ancient astrology. And in the beginning of the pandemic, we had very challenging cycles. I won't reiterate for once, but Saturn was in its home sign, and then when it went into Aquarius, it also was in its home sign. Well, in Pisces, it's been really tough. I decided this past week that I'm going to work with it as best as I can. I find that I can't find words to write. I feel uninspired creatively, and I listen to music that I love, and I can't get into it. And I think what's unusual is I have felt that this would be such a creative renaissance, but I think it feels hard to believe it's possible. And I'm reframing that story because Pisces rules the unconscious mind. It rules imagination. We can work with this. It is such a creative and intuitive sign. And with Neptune in its dignity, and it will eventually enter Aries in 2025, but it's still at the final degrees of Pisces. And with Saturn at the very beginning part of it, anchoring dreams, this could be creative magic. But a lot of people are having trouble with their faith, with believing in dreams, with believing in their creative voice, in finding that. So we need to work more to anchor that dream. If it takes us longer, it's suspension of disbelief. Sometimes it's walking away from something, and if it's a creative project, and returning to it. And obviously you can't do that with your responsibilities and other things, but there may be some areas of your life that you're just going to have to try to have some glimmer of hope. When you manifest or meditate, if most of it doesn't resonate right now because it is really hard to do, it's kind of like trying to work at having fun. Sometimes we need to reframe our thinking so it is work in a sense, working at believing in magic, because we need to be examples for other people. There are many homeless people right now. There are many people that have relapsed or are drug addicts or alcoholics, some of whom are now addicts, full-blown addicts that weren't in the beginning of the pandemic. Maybe they were going that place, but maybe they're headed there rather. But this engendered a lot of difficult awful things in many people. And some of it might be situational, where maybe they have anxiety they'll deal with the rest of their lives that they never would have experienced. So how do we use the end of Sagittarius season with Mars and Sag? Mars is how you take action. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which is the modern ruler of Pisces. Jupiter will station direct on December 30th. So right before New Year's Eve. I like that. We feel it 5 days before and 5 days after. It's in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, the other benefic of the zodiac, expanding through finding value in your work, in yourself, building your self-esteem, adding love and beauty to your environment and to your relationships and to your value set. And with Mercury retrograde, it's interesting because it's retrograded in Capricorn, which is goals and ambition, but it returns to the sign of Sagittarius on December 23rd or December 22nd or 23rd, depending on West Coast, East Coast. Can't remember the time now, but it's returning to Sagittarius and it will station direct on January 1st. A phenomenal way to begin the year, reframing your thoughts and ideas, because that's how you manifest. And with Saturn in Pisces, you've got to work on manifesting, at least I feel, because however that is, manifesting comes in many forms. It's gratitude, finding gratitude in a time where there are a lot of sad things happening in the world and in our own lives. So Mercury will station direct on the very first day of the year in the sign of Sagittarius at 22 degrees of Sag. And it will be squaring Neptune for about a week and a half, but that is manifesting energy. It can make you feel tired or vulnerable or depressed, or it can help you to manifest. And for some reason, I have been working with that energy, I guess the last week, probably because the sun was squaring Neptune and it helped me to finally go there. I've been trying all year to manifest, and I manifest all the time. I've been doing it for years, or chanting. I do many different things, and I've been having a lot of difficulty connecting to that. I don't know if you guys have been, but finally it's just been kicking off, and I feel surrendering a little bit right now, in the sense that I have a lot of goals. Mercury retrograde in Capricorn has reconnected me with that. And many clients have been calling me and talking about their career more than their love life or other areas. Not saying I don't get that, but it's been about goals and career. And that's what Mercury started with. But when it returns to Sagittarius, that's about learning. That's about travel. That's about promotion and publicity. If you have your own business, reassessing how you could promote yourself. It's also about having hope, which will get us through Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. So that's one part of it. Then we have Venus forming an opposition to Uranus on December 20th. At 11:04 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and on December 21st at 2:04 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That can be very creative energy. Uranus is transiting in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Venus is in Scorpio, which is intense. There could be emotional drama too, because Venus does not like being in Scorpio, and that opposition could bring twists and turns or breakups for people, that can be, or it could be exciting passion, or maybe out of the blue windfalls financially. It could go either way, but it's bringing a creative flair to the solstice. And the solstice occurs, it's one of 2 points of the ecliptic, when the sun reaches its farthest point by declination, north or south. In the northern hemisphere, it's going to be the farthest south, and in the southern hemisphere, it's the farthest north by declination. So it's the beginning of the winter season in the northern hemisphere, where I am, and in the southern hemisphere, it's the beginning of the summer season. And it's the longest day and night in the southern hemisphere and the shortest day and night in the northern hemisphere. The sun stops, and it stops still. It's a time of reflection and pausing. It stops for about 3 days and then changes direction. But basically, it's a time of honoring. Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, goal oriented. And this is about what are your intentions, honoring what you want to accomplish the next season, the next few months, the winter season. Cardinal signs launch seasons, and they are the action-oriented signs. Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, and Libra. And so this is a time to really focus on what you want to achieve. This is the sign where Mercury recently retrograded. I cast the chart for the solstice, which occurs at on December 21st at 10:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The chart has Virgo ascendant. I cast it for Washington, D.C. Mercury rules the chart. It is currently retrograde in Sag. And in the chart, Mars is, in Capricorn. It's close to the world point, just a degree off. And it will meet up with the sun on the following day on the 22nd of December, giving us information, but also focusing on what we want to achieve. In the chart, Venus forms an opposition to Uranus. Well, in the houses of learning and travel and networking and marketing. And again, for many of us, if we're feeling disconnected, this is about having souls connect with Saturn in Pisces. We need to come together. And also, it could be, again, about trying to find creativity, breaking free from the restrictions of Saturn in Pisces, which has made it hard to find the music, however that is for you or for me. And so really going with that, breaking free, that's a good way of looking at it. Mars is in Sagittarius. It squares Neptune. And so that's where that speaks to the Pisces story that's so strong and palpable right now, in that Mars squaring Neptune in Pisces, creative practice, spiritual work, meditation, chanting, yoga, nature walks, floating, burning Palo Santo or sage, practicing feng shui. There are many prayer, many ways of doing this. Journaling, writing gratitude list. I am now doing this program by Christy Whitman. I really like her. And it's something I got years ago. And it's 40 days of doing different affirmations, but writing 10 different things each day of which you're grateful. So the big things obviously come to mind, but then you have to focus on little things to realize so many little things that do bring us up and bring up the vibration. So we've got that energy. We also have Venus and Scorpio forming a good angle to Neptune, forming a trine. That's a very creative and beautiful energy. So Venus opposes Uranus and it trines Neptune. Mars squares Neptune. Again, many people will feel like it's hard to get their dreams accomplished. They're going to feel like, what's it worth? Why go for this? We have to all, whether it's starting to join manifesting circles, you could do it online, maybe form a group with some friends or a couple of people. You could do it weekly or monthly, whatever your schedules allow, or on your own, finding ways. But it is said, and I do believe, when you manifest with other people, it brings more power to it. They help to confirm or affirm your desires and intentions and vice versa. So this is important. And then over the weekend, Mercury re-enters Sagittarius on the 22nd or 23rd, depending on where you live. And that's the sign it's going to station direct on January 1st. It's going to station at 22 degrees and 11 minutes of Sagittarius. And that is going to be significant because that will be squaring Neptune again, manifesting. But in Sag, which is ruled by Jupiter, squaring Neptune in Pisces. Well, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter in ancient astrology. So focusing on your goals, Mercury retrograde, hearing from a lot of people from the past, but reevaluating what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. I like the fact that Jupiter, the planet of hope, is stationing direct at the very end of the year. We feel it 5 days before and 5 days after, and that leads into the new year. Mercury stations direct on the very first day of the year in the sign of optimism. Yes, it's in its detriment because it rules the opposite sign of Gemini, but it's about optimism, hope, and the big picture. And I bid you adieu.